Welcome to my video on getting to know the Apple Watch. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the key features of the Apple Watch. I am going to be covering features from watchOS 10, which was released in 2023. So how do you know if you have watchOS 10? Well, let's find out with our first tip. Let's go over to my Apple Watch. Now, an easy way to see if you're using watchOS 10 or not is just by pressing in on the side button. So when I go over to my side button here and I press it in, when I do that, if it shows my control center, which is what mine is doing, then I know I am using watchOS 10 or greater. If it shows a dock where you have like your recent apps or favorite apps, then you know that you're using an older version of watchOS. So that's how you can easily see which watchOS you're using. Now, if you're using an older version of watchOS, what can you do? Well, you need to update it. So how do you update your Apple Watch? Well, you do that through the Watch app on the iPhone. So let's go over to my iPhone and take a look at where you can find where to update it. So I'm in the Watch app here, and the first thing that we need to do is we need to go over to General here. Under General, what you're going to see is Software Update. That's where we want to go. If you have a red number 1 there, that means that there is an update for it. Now, if you want to look to see if there is an update, you can tap on it and it'll call out to Apple and check to see if there's an update. If there is an update, what you're able to do is update it from that point. Now, the Apple Watch does need to be on a charger and it needs to have a 50% charge. So you're not going to be able to update it unless your Apple Watch is charged up to 50% and it is on the charger. All right, so now we know how to find out which watchOS we're using, if we're using watchOS 10 or not, and how to update it. Let's take a look at the Apple Watch itself. Let's go back over to my Apple Watch. The first thing we're going to look at is our digital crown. The digital crown has a number of different features. The first one is when you press it in, what it does is it shows you all of your apps. So here are all of my apps. Now, if I swipe up and down or use a digital crown to go up and down, what it'll do is it'll show me more apps. If you're using watchOS 9, this would zoom in and out. Now it just scrolls up and down. I like this much better than what it was with watchOS 9. Another feature of the digital crown is when you press it in twice. So if I press this digital crown in 2 times, what it's going to do is it's going to show me my recent apps. So let's go ahead and do that. I just press it in 2 times, 1, 2, and now I can see my recent apps. And I'm just scrolling up, or I can swipe to go through them. So that's what the digital crown does. Let's go back over to our apps. We're going to look at how we can change the view of the apps as well as organize them. So I'm going to press in on the digital crown again. And we're at my apps. So this is the default look of the apps. This is called the grid view. Now what you can do is you can organize these apps. And what I would recommend doing is if you have some favorite apps, what you may want to do is place your favorite apps up here towards the top. How do you do that? Well, basically all you have to do is just tap and hold on any one of them. We get into that jiggly mode. We're all familiar with that jiggly mode. And you just go and drag the apps where you want. So you can place your favorite apps up towards the top. Why do I recommend that? Well, that means that all you have to do is just press in on the digital crown here, and you're going to find all of your apps right up here. You don't have to scroll for them. So that's a way that you can favorite your apps. What about the list view? Apple had a list view for our apps. Maybe you don't like the grid view. Well, you can still change it back to that list view. How do we do that? Well, all we have to do is just swipe up until we get to the very bottom. And when we get to the very bottom here, you're going to see we have these horizontal lines. With these horizontal lines, when I tap on it, what I'm able to do is change my view. So now it's in a list view. I want to go back to the grid view. I just go all the way up through all of my apps, and now we're going to see these dots. And when I tap on that, it's going to bring me back to the grid view. Well, what else do we have? Well, we also have a side button here. The side button also has a number of different features. When you press it in once, what it does is it brings up the control center. So I'm looking at my watch face here, and when I press it in once, we have my control center. From here, we have our do not disturb. I can see what my battery is. I can also put it into airplane mode. We have a number of different options here. So you just tap on them to activate or deactivate them. What happens when you press in on the side button twice? Well, when you press it in twice, what it's going to do is it's going to give you Apple Pay. So if you want to pay over at McDonald's or something like that, this is what I use when I go to McDonald's. I just press it in twice, and now we can see all of my different cards in here. To add a card, what we need to do is go back over to our watch app. So let's go back over to my watch app on the iPhone and take a look at where we can add these cards. So I'm in my watch app, and the first thing we have to do is make sure that we're looking at my watch here. And when we do, and we scroll up, you're going to see all of the different settings. The one that we're looking for is called Wallet and Apple Pay. That's the one that we want to tap on. And then from here, what I'm able to do is add different cards. So I have these cards added to my phone. All I have to do is just tap on any one of them to add it to my watch. And if I want to add a card that isn't in here, I can also tap on Add Card here, follow the instructions, and then you can start using Apple Pay on your Apple Watch. Now the side button also has another feature. This is where we can power down our Apple Watch. Let's go back over to my Apple Watch. When I press in on the side button here and hold it, so you have to press and hold, what it does is it brings us to where we can power it down as well as use Emergency SOS. So you're going to see we have the power button here. All I do is just tap on that, and then I can slide to power off. To go back, we just tap on Cancel. I also have Emergency SOS. Let's go ahead and press and hold again. And we have my medical ID, compass backtrack for when you're hiking and you want to have a route back to where you started from. And then, of course, we have Emergency SOS. So I just slide this over, and what it'll do is it'll call emergency services. If I hold this button in long enough, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to cut it short, but when I do hold that in there for a period of time, watch what happens. You're going to see it's counting down, and I get an alarm. Now I let go so we don't have that calling Emergency SOS. So that's how we can use Emergency SOS with the side button. What else do we have here? Well, we also have notifications. So what I'm going to do is go back over to my Apple Watch. To do that, we just press in on the digital crown here. And you're going to see up towards the top here, there's a little notification here, a little dot, a little indicator. If it is red, that means that you have unread notifications. It's also where you can just view all of your notifications, even if you read them. To do that, all we have to do is just pull down from the top with our finger. So we just swipe down. So let's go ahead and do that. And there are my notifications. Now from here, I can use the digital crown to scroll through them, and I can tap on any one of them to open it up. This is also where we can easily manage a specific notification. To do that, let's say I wanted to remove this notification here. In order to do that, just swipe over to the left. And when I do that, you're going to see I have X. This will clear that notification just temporarily, just that one time. Or what I'm able to do is mute it. When I tap on these three dots here, I can mute it for an hour, or just add it to my summary, or just turn it off altogether. So we can manage individual notifications just by swiping to the left. Now, if you want to clear all of your notifications, then what you do is you swipe all the way towards the top. You swipe down to get all the way up towards the top, and then you're going to see Clear All. Just tap on that, and it'll clear all of your notifications. We have a new feature with watchOS 10, widgets. If you're familiar with the iPhone, you know that you have widgets on it. Also, you have it on the iPad and now with the Mac. Well, we also have it on the watch. In previous versions of watchOS, when we swiped up, what we would get is our control center. Well, now all we have to do is just press in on the digital crown. So what happens when we swipe up? Well, when we swipe up, what we have are widgets. So you're going to see we have the date and the time, and when I scroll up, I have different widgets here. Now these widgets are called smart widgets, which means that they will show depending on your location, the time, and what you are doing. So in the morning, you might get the weather. In the afternoon, if you go out for a walk on a regular basis, it might turn into workouts so that you can easily work out. Now what you're also able to do is add your own widgets, and you can pin these, so you can manage these. To do that, what you do is you tap and hold on it. And then from here, what you're able to do is add a new widget if an app has it. Not all apps have widgets yet, but you're able to tap on the plus and you can add a widget just like you do on the iPad or the iPhone. I can also remove a widget by tapping on the minus. And if I want to pin it to where it's always there, we have pin here. And then I'm able to pin it, so then it's always accessible. Now let's take a look at watch faces. With watch faces, what we're able to do is switch to different watch faces. Well, in the past, the way that you did that was you just swiped to the left or right, and then it would change that watch face. Well, that no longer happens. Now what we need to do is we need to long press on the face, and when we do that, you can see it shrinks, and now what I'm able to do is switch watch faces. So now we have to do that extra step of long pressing on it. We can still add a watch face just by going all the way over to the left, and we can see we can add a watch face. So we do have a couple of new watch faces, Snoopy, and then there's also a new modern type of watch face. So that is our watch faces. Now if you want to customize these watch faces, what I recommend doing is going over to the Watch app on the iPhone. It's much easier to do this on the Watch app on the iPhone. So let's go back over to my iPhone here and see how we can quickly customize a watch face. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to make sure that we're looking at my watch. When we're looking at my watch, what we're able to do is see all of our different watch faces up here. And I just swipe to the left or right to view all of them. So you saw when I was swiping through them on my Apple Watch, these are the actual watch faces. From here, I can edit any one of these. So let's say I wanted to edit this watch face here. I can go and change the color. I can change the style. And I can add complications. Now, what are complications? Complications are what's located in the corners. This is like the date that used to be right down here on a typical watch. Those are called complications, and the Apple Watch has multiple complications depending on the watch face. In order to change those complications, all we have to do is just swipe up, and you're going to see complications here. Now, this particular watch face only has 3 complications. I can change the top left, top right, and the bottom. I tap on this to change that complication. But if we go to another watch face, let's go and tap on back, and we're going to go to another watch face. Let's go and add a new watch face, and then we'll see how we can modify the complication. To add a watch face, what we do is we go down to our face gallery. Tap on it, and we can see all of our different faces here. So here are all the new watch faces that we have. Let's go ahead and swipe up. We're not going to go with one of the new ones. I want to go with one that has a lot of complications. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with this one here. We have quite a few complications in this one. So I tap on it. And now I can choose the color. And when we go over to complications here, you're going to see we have a number of different complications that I can add here. So now all I need to do is decide which complication I want to change, and then I tap on what the complication is going to be. When I have this all set, I just tap on Add, and it'll add it to my Apple Watch. So as you can see, it's much easier to do this on the Watch app on the iPhone because you can easily see everything. It can get a little bit small on the Apple Watch itself, but you can do it on the Apple Watch. All right, let's take a look at activity next. This is a hallmark of the Apple Watch. It can measure your activity. So I'm going to go back over to my Apple Watch here. Now, if we look at my Apple Watch here, you're going to see that we have a number of rings on here. This is our activity rings. There are basically 3 rings that the Apple Watch pays attention to. We have a red ring, a green ring, and a blue ring. The red ring is our move goal. Basically what the Apple Watch does is it measures or tracks the number of active calories burned throughout the day. And what it wants you to do is burn a certain amount of these calories. And when you do, the more calories you burn, what it'll do is it'll slowly close this ring, and then eventually it'll close it when you've burned all the rings or you've hit your goal. I'll show you how you can change that goal shortly. So that's the red ring, active calories. The next one is our exercise. This is the green ring. The green ring measures brisk activity. So when we have a heightened heart rate, if we're going out for a walk or a run, a hike, anything like that, it'll measure that. And the way that we close this ring is we need to have 30 minutes of brisk activity. And then our last one here is our stand goal. The stand goal, what it does, or what the Apple Watch does, is it measures how often you've stood and moved for at least 1 minute per hour. So what I have done here, you can see that I'm at the 9 o'clock hour here. This is by default set for 12 hours. So what I've done so far today is I have stood and moved around for at least 1 minute, 9 hours. So I didn't stand for 9 hours. I just got up and stood or moved around for at least 1 minute, 9 hours so far today. And our goal is to close all 3 of those rings. Now this is actually in an app. What we're able to do is get more detail. To open up the app, we can tap on that complication. This is a big complication here. Or what we can do is we can go to all of our apps, and then we open up the activity app. When I do that, I can get more detail. So here are my rings. We can see my 3 rings. But when I swipe up, I can also see what my move goal is and when I moved. So you can see that I went for just a little walk here where it spiked up. That's when I went for a little walk around the block. I can see where my calories are, and my goal is 650 calories. If I want to change that goal, all I have to do is just tap on this, and I can change that goal. I swipe up, we have my exercise. So you can see that's where I went for a little walk. And so far I have 9 minutes out of 30 minutes. If I want to change the time, again, I tap on the little plus minus. Just tap on it, and I can change the time. And then our last one, as you can imagine, is going to be our stand goal, and I can see which hours I stood. I'm at 9, and again, I can change the goal. And then if I keep swiping up, I can also see how many steps I took and how many steps I've climbed. So that is our activity. Now what about workouts? We can also do workouts with the Apple Watch. When we do a workout, the Apple Watch will have more detail. It'll keep track of our heart rate on a higher detail, as an example. Where do we find these workouts? Well, what we need to do is we need to go to the workout app. So what I'm going to do is press in on the digital crown to get to my watch face. And then I press it in again. And now we have my workout app. Here it is up towards the top. So I tap on workout, and there's my workout. Now this is the last workout I went on, an outdoor walk. But when you swipe up, you're going to see we have a number of different workouts here. And when we go all the way down towards the bottom, I can even add another workout. So if you can't see what you find here, you can go and add more. They even have a workout for raking leaves. So if you don't see it, tap on add workout. What we're going to do is we're going to go back over to my outdoor walk. Not an open walk, it's an outdoor walk. But it is open. What does that mean, open? Well, that means that I don't have any goals. I'm just going to go for a walk, and when I'm done, I just stop it. But what you can also do is set it for a distance or a time. Maybe you want to go for a 3-mile walk, or you want to go for a 30-minute walk. And then the Apple Watch will alert you. To set these goals, instead of keeping it open, what you need to do is tap on these 3 dots. When I tap on those 3 dots, what I'm able to do is set a time. So it's set for 30 minutes. I can tap on that to change it. I can also set a distance, so it's set for 1 mile. Let's go ahead and tap on the pencil here, and let's just make it 3 miles. So I just tap on it, and we're going to go with 3 miles. Tap on done, and now all I need to do is just tap on start workout. And then the Apple Watch will alert me when I'm done with my 3-mile walk. I'm going to go back, and then we can also set it for how many calories. Maybe you want to burn a specific amount of calories. We can do that as well. All right, so what happens when you start a workout? Well, let's go ahead and start a workout here. Now, I'm actually going to not go for a walk because I'm recording this, but you'll get an idea of how it works. To start a workout, let's say you just wanted to go with this 3-mile workout here. All you have to do is just tap on it, and we can see it's counting down, and it's measuring my walk. That's basically all there is to it. From here, I can see the time, I can see my active calories, my heart rate, and when I swipe up, I can also see my goals. I'm just using the digital crown to go up and down. Or what I can do is just swipe up with my finger. So I just swipe up, and we can go back and forth between those different stats. Now let's say I wanted to end this. How do I end it? Well, all I need to do is just swipe over to the right. Actually, what you want to do is you want to swipe from right down here to the right. And when you do, what we're able to do is pause it, end it, or add a segment. So now what I want to do is I just want to end it. I tap on end. I tap on are you sure? So I just go ahead and end the workout. And now I get my summary, and it's recorded in my workout app or my fitness app on the iPhone. So I'm able to look this up on my iPhone through the fitness app. Now the last thing I want to show you is a few accessibility options, how we can make the text a little bit easier to read, and how we can have the haptic tap be a little more prominent. Now I'm going to show you on the iPhone. We're going to do this on the Watch app on the iPhone because it's just a little bit easier to set up on the Watch app as opposed to the Apple Watch. So let's go back over to my Watch app on the iPhone. The first thing you'll want to do is make sure that you're looking at My Watch again. And when you're looking at My Watch, what you're going to see are a number of different settings here. What we're going to do is we're first going to take a look at how we can change the text, make it a little bit more bold or larger. To do that, what we do is we go over to accessibility. When I tap on accessibility, what I'm able to do is increase the contrast, make things a little bit easier to read. I can also change the text size here. You can see I have it set as large as possible, again making it easier to read since I wear readers here. And when we swipe up, I can also make the bold text, and you can see that I have it set to be bold. Again, making the text a little bit easier to read when I don't have my glasses on. So that's how we can make the text a little bit easier to read. Now what about that haptic feedback, that haptic tap? Maybe you don't feel it all the time. Well, what we're able to do is make that a little more prominent. To do that, we need to go back, and we go over to Sound and Haptics. When we're looking at our sound and haptics here, you're going to see that there's an option for prominent. All I need to do is tap on prominent, and then when there's a haptic feedback on the Apple Watch, it'll be more prominent. So those are some tips on how to use your Apple Watch with watchOS 10. I hope this helped you to get to know your Apple Watch just a little bit better.